Since video number 1, I've found out quite a few things about this fork. I've dismantled it all pretty well. I wanted just to run through some of the things I found out as I was dismantling it, which some things I just made mistakes with. So I'll just start with one and I'll just show you as we go along. First thing is, I think when I showed you this last time, this is the bearing, these two here, the two bearings. I thought that this copper was the part that was worn away on the bearing, but I was 100% wrong. Let me just show you a new one. Let me just find the packet. This is a new bearing. So in fact the copper is the bearing, and where you can't see the copper, that's the worn away part. So looking at this fork again, you can see it doesn't look in so bad a condition. Well, maybe, don't know what, 50% maybe, but as I say, it's a 2002 bike, so I decided to buy a new one of these. They come as a set anyway, which I've done, which you can see there. There's the copper one, so just stick back in the bag. And this is the lower one in here, you can see there. Let's put those back. I bought obviously two new seals and two of those top things, whatever we call them. Let me just find the old ones. This is the top one, which, using a flat blade screwdriver, extremely careful, I prised it up and then obviously just did a bit round the sides and it came off quite easily. It's not such in bad condition, but I still thought 2002, I'll buy a new one anyway. I then had to take these clips out. You can see it looks alright, this one. It's corroded, but again, I'm always thinking it's 2002. We can't always see that it's, corroded. We can't always see how strong it is. So I've actually ordered some from the dealers at the minute and just waiting to get hold of them before I put the whole thing together. I also decided to take these off because I wanted to paint these lower forks, and to get it off, because it's made of kind of, I don't know, rubber, plastic, whatever, I used a rubber block to slowly knock it from below, a bit at a time with a hammer, because I thought to myself, I don't want to use anything metal on it because it may damage it. And that'd be the fate worse than death to have to buy another one just because I've damaged it. I suppose the key to this motorbike all the time is you've got to take time, take care, be careful, If you're having problems, just put it to one side and come back a few days later. But getting this little thing out, you'll see it's not perfectly round, there's little recesses. And that's where you put the screwdriver. You just put the tip down there and try and prise it up. Obviously you want to avoid scratching the chrome on the stanchion, because that would be a bit of a problem, to say the least. So you just use the screwdriver, and obviously you need to find hopefully where the ends are, and you just prise it up and you'll find it just slipped. Well, mine just slipped out. Once I got it up to the top here, then the other part was just a bit of easing of it, and it came out quite easily. If you look at this stanchion, you'll see that I've actually still got the fork seal on, because I wanted to get the new ones and have a look what the difference was, because the top and the bottom are very similar, but I've realised the top of it down here, this is where the numbers are, so that's the key element. Where the numbers are, it's slightly more of a flat thing, that's the top. So it's easy I can see it's easy to put them in the wrong way around. and it's possible to do that without realising it. So I thought I'd just leave it on for the minute, and then when I got the new ones I can compare. I don't know if you can see any numbers down there, they're not very easy. Yeah, perhaps, I don't know if you can see just down there, if the camera will focus on that or not. But that's what I've done, I've left it on until I got the new ones, then I could compare them and make sure I didn't make a mistake. The forks, when I took them off, they were in not a nice condition. They were grubby, paint was all chipped off. So what I did, I took the top thing off, of course, so I'd have a fork to work with, all nice and cleanish. I then blocked all the holes up with some tissue. You can see I've got tissue here, tissue here, here, here. Here actually, it's not on now, but I just used some cling film just to wrap it around there so it wouldn't get too sprayed, but you can see it is kind of sprayed anyway. See, what I should mention is when I was cleaning it, I don't know if you can see down the hole there, perhaps not, so you can see down the bottom. Oh yeah, there it is. I think that's quite a good picture. You'll see there's a piece of metal part of the fork down there. So to try and get more of the dirt out, which was my plan, I used a stick and I used some paper towel, and I just wrapped the paper towel around the stick, just like this. Perhaps not that way, a bit farther down maybe. Let's have a look. To clean the forks I used initially soapy water and white spirit to try and get rid of most of it. To clean the inside I used this little stick idea with a paper towel. Shoved it down, twisted it round, kept doing it a few times, and finally got rid of most of the dirt that was stuck down there. It was just, as I think, you know, I said before, I don't think it'd been clean for many years. That the fork core was not such a nice looking state. Also, when I was cleaning the outside of the fork, I used all sorts of different things, but I used some of this sandpaper, medium. Here we go, sandpaper, medium. I just use that to try and get rid of all the bits of loose paint and dirt and whatever. I also use some emery as well. This is 120, so quite abrasive. So it's no use painting on top of something that's still full of dirt, and you know it's not going to stick, is it? I then used some of this Upol, which is a grey primer. I suppose you could use the red primer or anything you want, it's up to you really, but I just decided, I mean, I think a lot of these metal paints, I think they say you can just spray straight on, but I wanted to get a smooth finish because it was they weren't in good condition, these forks. So I used this grey primer and did it 2 or 3 times till I got it smooth. In any runs I used some more of this emery style paper, wet and dry. This is 400 P400, so I didn't want to obviously try and scratch it, so this is quite a fine one, quite a smooth one. So any runs or any blemishes, I just smooth them off in between coats with this. I then used some of this Hammerite smooth silver metal paint, which for me I think looks fantastic. So again, I'd had this can a few years, and initially it wouldn't spray, but what I did, I just removed this top thing. It just pulls off straight off, and I just used another one from another can of something else. I think I might have used this the grey primer can. I just took the thing off, put another one on, and it sprayed. Perhaps a little bit different than it should have done, but it did spray. So this is the one I used. So I applied that sort of maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe more, and there was quite a few runs. It was a bit globby sometimes, but I smoothed it all out. And then you'll find it's quite delicate once you've sprayed it. It's easy to chip, easy to damage. So I then decided to apply some of this Pro XL gloss lacquer. I suppose any brand will do really, but it's supposed to be excellent gloss retention. It's supposed to be a hard finish anyway, and it dries time was 30 to 60 minutes. So again, I use this 3 or 4 times really, trying to spray it and trying to you know, coat it all over. The thing is, to put something on it, it's no use just painting it and leaving it, because it just seems to chip off again. It's very delicate, I suppose is the word really. So once it was on the bike and you're riding a few stones, it would soon chip. So I decided to definitely, it needs gloss lacquer. And if you look at the forks, I mean, they're not perfecto, but I don't think they're bad really. It's quite a nice finish in comparison to, you can see there's some I think I dropped it onto the floor here, round about here. And you'll notice these forks, if you're worried about getting them mixed up, you'll find on this little number here, on this one it's the R, so that's the right hand side. And if we just pick up the other one, ooh, you'll see it's got an L. So if you're worried about mixing them up, it's actually marked on these. Obviously I've kept the rest of the forks separate, and I know which is which is the left, which is the right, because obviously the book recommends that you keep them separate. But I clean out all this as well, trying to keep everything clean. Even there seems some tissue still stuck down, you can see down there really. But if you look down the bottom of this one, I think that looks quite clean compared to what it was at the beginning. I would think if you just don't spend any time cleaning the outside, you know, all that stuff at the bottom that was stuck in there, you're gonna still have it in when you put the new fork oil in. So I think that's all for this video. When I start to assemble it together, I'll then maybe do another video just to anything I find out as I go along. So that's all for today. See you later. Bye.